The $1 million blueprint. This is our thesis on the fastest and most effective way to scale any high-ticket business. This is the blueprint to scale past $1 million a year quickly and efficiently, doing it with minimum 50 to 60% margins. We put together this video to give you a clear, actionable overview of the exact system that we use to help businesses that are selling products or services over 1.5K consistently scale to 100K per month and beyond. In this quick video, we're going to cover two simple required phases to hit that 100K a month milestone. And if you already are at or past 100K a month and want to scale to multiple 6 or even 7 figures, I've got something extra for you. So make sure you stick around for this. The number one acquisition method for businesses already doing 100K a month or more. You're not going to want to miss it. I'll also be sharing the best paid model, aka how we run ads and ensure that every single one of our clients is de-risked and can't lose any money testing. Now let's dive in. I'm Trevor, CMO of GrowProfit.io, where our mission is to help business owners take control of their revenue, scale profitably, and simplify the entire process. I recently scaled Prosper Wellness over 150K in just MRR and exited for 7 figures. I then built the acquisition systems for Remote Wellness Academy that generated 8 figures per year before their 2024 acquisition. So I don't just teach this stuff. I actually have done it and continue to do it myself. I've also helped clients scale even faster than I have in my own businesses. Like Alex at AT Consulting, who went from 10K a month to 90K a month in just his first 30 days, and Nico, who did more in profit during his first month working with us than he had in his previous 17 months combined in his ecom businesses. I've helped hundreds of people, but honestly, you probably don't care right now. You just want to know how your business can scale, and that's totally fair. For all this to make sense, it's important for you to know it wasn't always like this. Rewind back to 2017, I was a couple of years out of school. I was struggling to consistently hit 10 to 15K per month as an online health coach. I was working like a madman, long days, longer nights. I'm ashamed to admit this now, but I actually worked on my wedding day sending cold DMs. Despite my relentless work, I struggled, and growth felt elusive. I tried a ton of programs and coaches to break through. I tried to learn how to make posts go viral. I even grew my social media past 100,000 followers on IG. I sent hundreds of outbound messages every single day. I sent daily emails and nurture. I even built a community. Yet still, I struggled. But like you, I'm determined. So I decided to invest my last 10K into learning one more skill, paid media, or what many of you know as social media advertising. And this decision transformed my business. See, in the first month of implementing our ads, our revenue skyrocketed from 13K cash collected to 80K. Over the next 12 months, we scaled to a 250K top line. And as I mentioned earlier, we were eventually able to sell that business for mid 7 figures. My takeaway from that experience was the immense power of strategic marketing and building scalable systems. I don't share this just to brag or flex, rather to illustrate that I made it through the other side of challenges similar to yours. I've been in the trenches, figured out what works, and now I'm here to share these insights with you. And to be blunt, I think you should at least listen to what I have to say, give my results, then decide what applies to you and what doesn't. By listening to my experiences, you can gain valuable takeaways to apply to your own businesses and achieve the growth you're aiming for. Just like that, we're done with the intro. Let's get into the juicy stuff. So what we're going to talk about today are the 2 phases to get to that 100K a month mark. And if you've already gotten there, you know this is true. And if that's you, stick with me because I'll also be explaining the number one constraint once people hit 100K a month, which in solving it will give you a strategy that ensures you never lose money running ads in the front end. Let me explain. Now, I'm going to make a bet. Everything I'm about to tell you, you've probably heard a version of this before, or I wouldn't be surprised if this doesn't feel new. Yet, for one reason or another, you're still not doing this or it hasn't quite clicked yet, meaning you haven't been able to scale past 100K a month because of this very reason. This especially applies to you if you're a full service agency, you're a marketing consultant, a business coach, or if you have a B2C service like weight loss. Y'all are probably the worst and most guilty at this. So listen closely, all right? Phase 1 is all about validation. And this term, offer validation, is something that gets thrown around a lot, but so few actually know what it means. This means laying the foundation for your business so it's built to scale. And shocker, the guy who has a program built around paid ads isn't telling you to just go run ads and spend a ton of money and pray to the ad gods, but actually wants you to build a consistent, scalable business. Right? Don't let the ad bros know or they're going to disown me. Now, there's 3 key areas that you must nail to validate your offer and your business model. And if it ever feels like you're the problem in your business, it's not your fault. You just need to clear up these 3 things. The first is messaging. And this is what we call your spice. It isn't about your offer, it's about how you communicate it to the market. And this is where the 4P formula comes in. You need to solve a specific pain for a specific person with a specific process, taking them to a specific paradise. Now, why is this so important? Well, without it, cold acquisition, whether through paid ads or other strategies, simply won't work. It's not possible. You also struggle to charge premium pricing, right? Think about it. Who gets paid more, the brain surgeon or the general practitioner? If your messaging doesn't clearly position you as a specialist solving a unique problem, point blank, you're leaving money on the table. I'll give you some examples of how to implement this shortly. The second thing we need to validate in order to scale is price economics. Your pricing needs to support healthy margins, ideally 70, 80% or more when you're just starting out. Or when I started, I was able to hit 100, 150K a month with just a small team maintaining over 80% profit margins. But why does this matter? In the beginning, strong margins allow you to reinvest into your business and hire the right people when the time comes. Everybody talks about A players, but nobody can afford them. Without them, you'll find yourself stuck at a bottleneck and you'll be overworked and underfunded. And if you ever feel like you just have a regular job, but with more stress, this right here is your constraint. You have a glorified job instead of a scalable business. The third thing that must be validated is fulfillment. And we call this product scale validation. Your fulfillment system must be designed to handle enough clients to reach 100K to 300K a month. If your current model can't support a 7-figure run rate, it needs to change. Now, this doesn't mean you need to go hire a huge team at 50K a month. Quite the opposite. Early on, you'll likely handle many roles yourself. That's okay. But you need a model that can grow with you, allowing you to gradually offload responsibilities to your team. Now, here's the key takeaway. If you have great packaging and scalability, but poor economics, your margins will be too weak to hire and grow. If you have economics and scalability, but weak packaging, you'll struggle to consistently attract clients. And if you have your spicy economics locked down, but you lack scalability, you'll hit consistent fulfillment bottlenecks. When you get all three right, packaging, economics, and scalability, that's when you've achieved offer validation. And this is the foundation for everything that comes next. Let's talk about a classic bad example of phase one. And this might hit close to home for some of you. Imagine you're running an everything to everybody business. For example, a full service agency that offers websites, SEO, PPC, email marketing, social media, you name it. Or maybe you're a coach or consultant who helps anyone improve your business with no clear specialty. Or my favorite, you're a health coach that helps with any type of transformation, weight loss, muscle gain, body recon, men, women, old, young. Basically, you're just trying to take on any client you get, no matter the problem or the process. If this sounds familiar, listen closely. Now, sure, there are massive agencies out there, like Neil Patel's team doing 100 million plus as a full service shop. But keep in mind, they're working with huge contracts. Think like Fortune 500 or even Fortune 100 companies. And Neil has a very unique acquisition system thanks to his organic reach, SEO expertise, and a massive brand that most of us don't have. For small businesses, we can't afford a broad spray and pray approach. We need focus. When you try to be everything for everyone, here's what happens. You lack a specific person, problem, or process to anchor your offer on. Without that clarity, cold acquisition completely fails. You're running an ad like, oh, we'll handle all your online needs. Well, it's too vague. It doesn't resonate. And that's why businesses like this rely on their word of mouth and referrals to survive. Without specialization, you can't charge premium prices, your margins suffer, leaving no room to hire, and you're stuck doing everything yourself, leading to burnout. Serving everyone also creates chaos in the client journey. For example, a menopausal woman has way different needs than a 25-year-old guy competing in an NPC show. And it's this lack of standardization which forces you to outsource everything, which is expensive and oddly often lower quality. Or you just do it all yourself, burning you out, making scaling impossible. Every deal becomes customized, requiring hero sales that you can't delegate. And ultimately, without a repeatable sales or repeatable fulfillment system, you're stuck in the grind. So what's missing here is what we call the pipeline system. Without a streamlined, repeatable process for diagnosing problems and delivering solutions, your business is doomed to stay stuck in the weeds. And even if you think you can go without this, you can't scale because you'll be stuck doing hero sales and founder fulfillment. Let's look at a good example. You'll see how the pipeline process works its magic. Now let's go back and see our friend the health coach, but this time, imagine you're an online health coach specializing in women going through menopause looking to lose 30 to 60 pounds. The specific problem that you solve is hormonal imbalance. Your target audience, women between the ages of 35 and 55. The specific way you solve the problem, well, that's your unique process or system. That sets you apart. You simply need to ask yourself, what makes your approach unique, different, or superior? Or what's a common mistake others in the market are making, and how do you do it differently to achieve better results? This makes your spice messaging so much easier. Because you're a specialist, solving a specific problem for a specific audience in a specific way, well, now your offer is crystal clear. And this clarity makes it easy to communicate your value, and cold messaging becomes much more effective. And now that you're a specialist, your price economics improve. You're able to charge more because you're positioned as an expert. Your margins are better because you're delivering a focused, repeatable service. Hiring becomes easier because your team members only need to master one or two specific tasks. Your team is happier. Your clients are happier. You're happier. A butterfly effect happens. We end world hunger. Okay, maybe not. Let's cover that in the next video. Anyways, here's where the pipeline process concept really shines. Since every client comes to you with the same problem, for example, going through menopause and wants the same outcome, weight loss, and more energy, you can create that streamlined system for fulfillment. And this allows you to build SOPs for every step of your process. It's much easier to hire and train someone to focus on one task than expect them to juggle 17 piecemeal different responsibilities. And because every client has the same problem and the same goal outcome, you're essentially doing the same thing every time. And this reduces complexity, increases efficiency, and improves your margins. On the sales side, the benefits are just as significant because your sales team is diagnosing the same problem for every client. They're offering the same insights about why the problem exists, and they're prescribing the same solution. And it's this standardization that means your sales process becomes just as scalable as your fulfillment process. Your team can confidently deliver consistent results without bottlenecks, making growth more predictable. Now, the benchmark to graduate out of phase one are, of course, nailing down the right packaging, economics, and scalability. And you can do this validating it by selling it yourself 10 to 20 times, and that's very key. Then you can go on to phase two. Phase two is what we call the money printing system, or MPS for short. And the goal of the MPS is straightforward. Create consistent, repeatable, predictable, and scalable system to generate new business revenue on an ongoing basis. Let me say that again. Consistent, repeatable, predictable, scalable. That's the foundation of any business that's serious about growth. Now, you might be thinking, obviously, I need a system like that. And yes, most people understand this conceptually, but here's the truth. If your business is stuck below $1 million per year or even $3 million, and you're constantly bottlenecked by a lack of leads or predictable revenue, it's likely because your selling system isn't optimized. Right? Mastering the MPS makes scaling to 100K, even 500K per month achievable in most online service-based businesses. Beyond that range, getting to $1 million per month, it requires different skill sets. But for now, phases 1 and 2 are all you need to scale effectively to that 100K to 500K a month mark. So let's break down what the money printing system actually entails. There are two core components of an MPS. And the first is generating interest, which is your leads. You need a systematic, repeatable, scalable way to generate interest in your business. Think of this as your lead generation system. Second is converting interest into revenue. Now, once you've captured interest, you need a systematic, repeatable, scalable way to convert that interest into actual dollars. Because guess what? Leads don't pay the bills. We need paying clients and customers. And this is actually a combination of your lead nurture and your sales systems. It's important to understand what makes a system. One of the key properties is this. When you increase the inputs into the system, you get a corresponding increase in outputs. And it might not be a 1-to-1 ratio, but there's a clear and predictable relationship between the two. This predictability is critical for scaling. Your money printing machine should function like a pipeline system, seamlessly flowing from lead generation to revenue generation. Now, here's the key. Everything builds on the principles that we talked about from phase 1. To have a functional money printing machine, you need a specific problem, a specific person, and a specific way to solve it. If these aren't dialed in, your pipeline system will get holes and you'll spring leaks. Everything, lead generation, cold acquisition, and scaling, depends on this foundation. With the right money printing system, you're creating a pipeline for your business. Each phase builds on the one before, and the result is a streamlined, scalable system that delivers consistent results. Let me give you a classic bad example of what a broken or non-existing money printing system looks like. Let's go back to our old friend running that general online weight loss program. Actually, kind of feel bad that we're picking on him. So let's say maybe you're running a B2B full service agency that does marketing services. Well, how do you get business? Probably word of mouth, referrals, SEO, webinars, posting randomly on social media and hoping something sticks, sliding into everyone's DMs who even shows a molecule of indirect interest. And even if these businesses are somehow doing 1 million, 2 million a year, it's bottlenecked by the lack of predictable system for generating new leads and clients. What's likely happening is the owners doing everything themselves. They're running all the sales, they're managing fulfillment. Even if they have a small team helping out, it's all on them. They're wearing every single hat in the business. And at this point, it's not really a business. It's a job that's entirely dependent on the owner. Like Robert Kiyosaki says, a business is a system. And the key question is, if you stepped away for 6 months, would the business still run without you? For most businesses in this situation, the answer is no. Actually, it's hell no. And that's what's normal when you're just starting out. That's fine, but it's not a sustainable way to grow. This is why building the right foundation is so critical. Without a true system, one that generates consistent leads and sales without you, growth will always be limited. And that's exactly what we're addressing here. So let's make sure your business doesn't fall into this trap. Now, let's look at some good examples of the money printing system by looking at the number one acquisition system for doing 100K a month. So if you're already at 100K a month, this is what you should be doing to scale beyond. Let's talk about what a great money printing system looks like in practice. And credit to Alex Shimozy here, who outlined the 6 ways to generate leads. Now, there's word of mouth and referrals, there's affiliates, there's owned media, there's earned media, there's outbound, and there's paid media. Any of these could technically be a system, but in my experience working with hundreds of clients from 30K a month businesses to companies doing over $100 million a year, some methods work far better than others. Let's break them down. Can referrals be a system? Technically, yes, but for it to truly scale, you need an average of 1.1 referrals per client consistently. That's hard to achieve without incredibly low churn and near perfect client experience. While I've seen exceptional businesses scale to 300, 400K a month with word of mouth alone, those are freaking unicorns. Referrals are a bonus. They're not a proven, predictable, scalable growth strategy. Now, to turn affiliates into a money printing machine, you need to recruit the affiliates, onboard and activate them, ensure they succeed, retain them, and then repeat this process at scale. While affiliates work for supplements, software, low-ticket courses, I've never seen a high-ticket business or agency scale to $1 million a month purely through affiliates. It's possible. It's not proven. This works far better with a low-ticket subscription product space. Owned media, like your email list, can fuel a money printing machine, but it's rare for most service-based businesses to have an email list of 3 million plus subscribers like some top-tier brands, which is what would be required to hit this benchmark. So without that scale, this isn't a reliable strategy for most of us. Similarly, earned media, like a strong social media following, could work, but requires a massive and highly engaged audience, like I'm talking 1 million plus followers or more. Even then, you're tied to constantly creating new content, so it's not a true system. Outbound, like cold emails, calls, or DMs, it can be a viable NPS. It's predictable and scalable. Or you just add more dialers, build a large team, increase the inputs to get more outputs. And I've had clients who've reached $1 million with outbound. However, it's rare to see a business scale to $1 million a month purely through outbound. It's effective, but it has its limits. This is usually an awesome bolt-on to an already functioning system. Out of the hundreds of clients, 90 to 95% who have scaled to 7 or 8 figures, they did it through paid ads. Why? Because paid media offers predictable inputs and outputs. The more ad spend you put in, the more leads and sales you generate. It also provides leverage. Once you have winning creatives and funnels and a dialed-in process, you can reap the benefits for months or even years. It gives you the best speed. Compared to other methods, paid ads are freaking fast. You can see results in days or weeks instead of months or years. And it's got accessibility. Almost anyone can launch ads on Facebook, TikTok, or YouTube. And I do want to note that outbound can complement your efforts. Paid media is the backbone of a strong money printing system. It's scalable, it's repeatable, and the most effective system for reaching 100K all the way up to 500K a month and beyond. Now, a special thanks to my lovely assistant, Alex. I got it from here, buddy. So here's the bottom line. I'm not saying paid media is the only way to scale. It's not. You can find 7-figure or even 8-figure businesses that have succeeded with any of the acquisition methods we discussed. But sharing what I've seen after working with hundreds of businesses, 95% of them scale past 100K a month or even reach 8 figures. They do it with paid media, with social media ads. If you're looking for the most proven, predictable, and highest probability way to grow, this is the path I recommend. And that's why it's the cornerstone of what I'm sharing with you. Just to orient ourselves and for me to stay on track, here's where we're at. We just unveiled the number one acquisition method if you're already at 100K a month or more. And quite frankly, this is the best acquisition for 10K a month until $3 million a month if you like predictable, scalable, fast, and safe. More on how we make it safe next. Now let's cover exactly what the best paid media model is. And this is assuming your business is high ticket, it's online remote, it's service or product, it's FTC compliant, meaning it's not breaking any laws, and it's ad platform compliant, meaning it's not like sex toys or drugs. The question now is, what's the best paid media model for your business? Well, let me break down the framework we use, what I call the positive on acquisition model. No matter what funnel you run, whether it's application, VSL, group funnel, tripwire, anything, there's a point where you acquire the customer. And here's what that looks like visually. Right? When first starting out, most of us can't just drop a bunch of money on ads to acquire that customer because we don't have investors or raise capital. We don't have rich parents or backers. We don't have a run rate to live our lives without making any money. However, there is a common misconception when running paid ads around acquisition. There's actually 3 acquisition methods when we're running paid ads. And if you've ever run paid ads, whether you know it or not, you were doing one of these 3. So first, let's cover the 2 that I definitely don't recommend. The first is what's called negative on acquisition. When a company goes negative, this means that the money spent on acquiring the customer was greater than the immediate upfront cash from that customer. In other words, the company is literally losing money on the acquisition of a customer. The goal in this scenario is that the LTV of that customer is greater than the cost incurred to acquire them. So while we go negative to acquire the customer, we eventually break even, then start to profit. But the problem is this can take months, even years in some industries. And if you ever want to look it up, the technical term for this is CAC, payback period. So the question is, how many of you have a stockpile of money for marketing budget, capital investment, data, fulfillment costs to go negative in your business, right? Make no profit for a minimum of 5 months. Assuming you can even keep the customer that long, basically, you're working for free for 5 months to hopefully pay back the debt you accumulated to acquire that customer. And the answer to that question is probably not many small businesses, right? This is why the approach for big public companies and venture-backed firms does not work for bootstrap businesses. We don't do that. And unfortunately, beginners to paid media don't understand this. So they think they can go out and sell a $7 ebook or sell a $47 challenge when they don't understand the economics of the business model they're working with. So to be blunt, if you're under $1 million a year, this is a terrible model for you. Well, what's the alternative then? Glad you asked. Now, let's talk about another type of profitability when it comes to acquisition. When a company goes break even on acquisition, this means that the money spent on acquiring the customer is exactly the same as the immediate revenue from the upfront cash. Here's a quick example, just so that we're on the same page. Let's say you spend $1,000 on ads, and for that $1,000 in ads, you sell 4 units. It's $750 contract value, but it's split into $250 payments, right? A 3-pay. This would mean that the total upfront cash was actually $1,000 collected because you got 4 of those $250 payments up front. This means that the ad spend CAC, therefore, is $250, and the upfront cash ROAS would be 1. This means that their original investment of $1,000 resulted in exactly $1,000 revenue. And this is not profit. We're not talking about any other expenses, just the ad spend expense. So if this business is breaking even on the front end, how in the world are they making any money? You guessed it. Similar to the negative on acquisition businesses, this break-even strategy, they make money through their back-end LTV. This is safer than negative on acquisition, but it's still a bit of a risk. The third way is why our clients are able to scale faster, safer, and more efficiently than any of these companies. It's called positive on acquisition. Surprise, right? When a company goes positive on acquisition, this means that the immediate revenue from the customer, right, that upfront cash, is greater than the money spent on acquiring the customer. In other words, the company is making money on the acquisition of the customer on day one. In this very simple example, let's say the company spends $1,000 on ads, right? You go out and spend that. They sell 4 units, $2,400 contract value. All of them are doing split pays of $800 with the first payment of $800 up front. This would mean that the total upfront cash is $3,200 collected. This would mean that the ad spend CAC is $250. And this means that the upfront cash ROAS would be 3.2 or 320%, meaning with their original $1,000 investment on day one, they got a 320% ROI. So that means every time you put in $1 into ad spend, you get $3.20 just on the front end. So with back-end LTV, even just a split pays, this can easily become 4x, 8x, 10x or more. And if you have a machine with these economics, my question to you is, how many $1 bills would you put into that machine? As many freaking $1 bills as you can find, right? Why? Because this is no longer a cost. This is a money printing system. A money printing system. So by now, you understand that phase 1, validation, is the foundation you need to build your business upon. You also know how to solidify your money printing machine with phase 2 and why the paid acquisition model is the most effective way to scale quickly and predictably. But at this point, you might be wondering, well, what are the 7 variations of the positive on acquisition model and which one is best for my business? How do I actually launch paid ads? Should I focus on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook? Well, what if I have a small budget to start? Can I still make this work? How do I structure my offer the way you mentioned earlier? What about sales systems and recruiting? How do I find and place the best setters and closers in my business? I would love to answer all of these questions in this video, but if I did, it would turn into an entire course or multi-part series. So here's what I recommend. Book a free call with me or one of our advisors using the link below. On this call, we'll take 15 minutes to learn about your business, your goals, your challenges, your opportunities, and we'll share the 3 to 4 steps that we would take if we were in your shoes to hit your next milestone, whether that's $100K a month or $2 million a month. And if your goal is $200 million a year and you're already at $50 million, we may not be the best fit. Or we haven't been there yet. But if your goal is $2 million a month or below, we can provide a step-by-step roadmap tailored to your solution. Why book a call? We've not only hit these milestones ourselves, but we've also helped hundreds of clients scale to 7 figures and have likely generated more 8-figure success stories faster than anyone else in the industry. After we lay out your plan, you'll have 2 options. Work with us to implement that plan immediately, or take the insights and implement it on your own. No pressure either way. The call is free, and the insights you'll gain will be invaluable. I genuinely believe there's no other company is capable of producing these kinds of results, both for ourselves and for our clients, and more importantly, helping you replicate those results in your own business. One final note, this video was focused on the foundations, or phase 1 and phase 2. They make scaling possible. Without these in place, scaling this type of business or achieving consistent growth is incredibly difficult. So we also offer done-for-you lead generation and sales. If you're looking to just hand off the marketing, the lead generation, the lead nurture, ultimately all that validation, we can absolutely do that as well. Now, thanks for watching. We hope to connect with you soon. Click the link below to book your free call. Let's make your next big milestone a reality.